Hello friends, welcome back to the shop. Today is Sunday, February 18th, and we are having some interesting weather here in eastern Pennsylvania. It snowed last night, and it snowed in a very unusual way because it's warm. It was barely 32, so barely at the freezing point, but we got quite a bit of snow. It accumulated rather dramatically in the trees, and I'm going to show you a picture that I took last night of the oak tree in my backyard, and you know, it's just absolutely beautiful. The moonlight was coming off the snow and creating this eerie light, and every single detail of the tree is outlined in snow. So hopefully you're seeing that picture now if I remember to put it in. Unfortunately, it was mixed with rain, it turned to ice, it was very heavy, and this morning when I got up, my dogwood tree did not fare very well, so about half the tree is gone, and I'll show you a picture of that. So that's unfortunate. I really liked that tree, but we'll plant another and let it grow up to fill in the blank space there. So it will all be fine in the end. So things are going quite well. Otherwise, I apologize for not seeing you last weekend, but I had a rather nasty chest cold, upper respiratory infection. It was really bad. It was unusual in that I didn't get like a sore throat, no nasal congestion, just chest, and it knocked me out. I mean, I was one day there. I went to bed early, and I wound up sleeping for 12 hours, and I woke up tired. It was just unbelievable how much this thing knocked me for a loop. I was out of work for the better part of a week, and it was almost 2 weeks that I've been out of the shop. So if I'm doing any work for you, I'm behind, and I apologize for that, but this is you know, you don't want me working on your pipes when I'm sick, and I do better work when I'm feeling well. So enjoying some really nice coffee that was sent to me by my friend Rick. It's a Brazilian bean that he roasted himself, and he said it goes well with Burley, and man, is he right. This stuff is just perfect. I'm not a fan of the Starbucks, like the real bitter coffees, you know, dark French roast, those kinds of things. I much prefer a milder roast, and I used to drink coffee black all the time, and I think that's why. I think it was just easier to drink black if it was more mild rather than the more robust roasts. But this stuff is really nice. It's nice and mild, and you know, just goes, as Rick said, goes great with Burley. And speaking of Burley, I have my Briar Spirit Janus pipe here, and in Janus I have some Cornell and Deal Pegasus. And man, what can you say about Pegasus that hasn't been said 15 times? It's just a wonderful blend. It's funny. Pegasus is a blend that I don't like to smoke all the time. I love it, and when I get a hankering for it, I gotta have it. But it's a blend that I kind of get, I don't want to say get tired of, but it just becomes a little overwhelming for me. Not in terms of nicotine, because I don't get anything. I'm not sensitive to that. But just the flavor is so robust and powerful that it's almost like, you know, if every meal you had it loaded up with hot sauce and jalapenos, you would stop appreciating spicy food. And that's kind of the way this is. It's just so packed with flavor that having it more than occasionally just seems overkill to me. But I do love it. Zippo's still working quite well. If you looked at the blog post on this, I had a comment that was really interesting. Someone suggested that you could do the same thing that I did just by scrubbing it with a toothbrush. And you can't. And I really appreciate the comment because it's a good suggestion, and I'll tell you why. But I tried just the brass brush alone on this, and it just wouldn't get the stuff off. You really had to soak it and then use the brass brush, so a toothbrush wouldn't work. But what might be a really good idea is if you're a Zippo user and you use it heavily, maybe once a month get a toothbrush and just scrub it off. Obviously not a toothbrush that you're going to use for your teeth. Buy a separate toothbrush and just scrub that wheel, because it may be that over time that glazing builds up from small particles of the flint, and this is what this person pointed out. And you could probably brush those off. So doing that regularly might avoid having to do anything. You know, it might be that you never have that glazing problem. But either way, I'm happy that this is working. I apologize for that noise. We don't have very good sound insulation between the floor upstairs and the shop, and I usually make these videos in the very early morning before my wife is awake. She's upstairs making breakfast for me, so I have to be kind and let her make some noise because I want to eat breakfast. So I've been very busy in the shop, and unfortunately I missed a lot of time being sick. Got a lot of projects going on. One I thought you might be interested in is I'm working on this little rock pipe for a friend, and this is a beautiful little pipe. I hope the customer doesn't mind me showing it, but it's interesting because it's got this bone stem. I think it's bone. And, you know, it's beautiful, but it's kind of awkward. It comes to a very sort of blunt angle here, so it looks like it would be rather uncomfortable. You'd have to grip it tightly, and of course, it's relatively fragile. It's a horn stem, not a bone stem. And you can see it's already developed a crack there in the back. I hope you can see that. Well, at any rate, there's a bit of a crack there. So he wanted to replace this with an acrylic stem, and I fully understand why. I mean, horn stems are nice historically, but they, you know, they don't hold up well, and this one in particular just looks uncomfortable. So he chose an acrylic, and I have made a Delrin tenon here, and that fits in there beautifully. So we're about ready to start shaping this. The reason I wanted to show you this is I wanted to, you know, show you a couple of the challenges that we face when we're making these stems. So one is just the fact that I needed to make this a Delrin tenon. Acrylic is very easy to break. It doesn't take shear force very well, and probably I'd say 3 out of 5 pipes that have broken tenons that I work on are acrylic stems with acrylic tenons, because there's just not a lot of give to it. It cracks very easily. Vulcanite's a bit more forgiving. It is a rubber after all, and Delrin is a lot tougher. So when I make acrylic stems, I always use a Delrin tenon now. It's more robust, it's going to last longer, and it's just a nice, smooth slide into the pipe because it's so slick and you know, just fits really well. The other thing is, you know, this is a diamond shank, as you can see. And if you look closely, let me see if I can focus on this to point this out to you. Try to get a pointer here. The amount of acrylic overhanging here is actually much less than the amount of acrylic overhanging here. The mortise is drilled off center. Sorry about that, we had a bit of a furnace break there. So what I was saying is that because this is offset relative to the diamond shank, these facets are going to have to be cut in by hand, and everything's going to have to be hand shaped. I can't, because the lathe spins and everything is relative to the center of the stem, and the stem is offset. So it's a challenge to do this, and I love the challenge. I love doing these things. I'm not showing it to you to complain. I'm showing it to you to sort of give you an appreciation for some of the difficulties involved, and also a bit of understanding about why there's so few people that are willing to re-stem a pipe like this. It's a lot of work, and you know, if you're a pipe maker and you can carve a pipe in the same amount of time that you can re-stem a pipe, and you can sell that pipe for $150, $300, maybe more, or you can charge $30, $40 to fit a new stem, what are you going to do? Fortunately, there's a few of us that just really love repairing old pipes or new pipes, and we're willing to spend the time doing that, and hopefully provide value to the customers. So, not complaining. I'm just sort of trying to let you know that this is not, it's not as easy as just popping a blank on there and running it on a lathe or something. Sometimes it takes a lot of handwork. But I think when we're done, it's going to be a very nice improvement on this ROP pipe. So I wanted to update on the meetup. So we are going forward. March 10th is rapidly approaching, and I have not gotten any feedback from anyone on meeting times or anything like that, or sort of the plans that I've presented. So I'm gonna, this time next week, I'm gonna present you with my proposed schedule, and just so that we all know what we're going to be doing. If you have strong feelings about what time we should be meeting, whether or not we should be going to JR Cigar, or any of that sort of stuff, please let me know. Get in touch, email, canerodpiper@gmail.com, direct personal message, private message, whatever they're called. Get in touch and let me know, because I'd like your input. But I've heard from quite a few people saying, yeah, I'll be there, and that's fantastic. So I'm really looking forward to seeing some of you, and we'll have a good time either way. So next week I'll give you some details so that you got times and places and such like that in mind. I am, for those of you that might be thinking about going the evening before, I am going to try to get a room at the hotel where the show is, and drive in the night before, just because it's easier. I'm not that far away, but it'll be nice to just be able to wake up and walk downstairs to the show. So if anybody is traveling, coming in the night before, let me know, and we can get together that evening or something. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to the show. I think it's going to be a great time, and it's going to be great to meet some of you guys in person. So I think that's about everything I wanted to talk about today. It's been a slow couple of weeks for me because of the cold and everything, but back in good form and looking forward to getting on with my Sunday, and looking forward to that breakfast. So I will let you all get on with your Sundays. I hope you had a great week and a great weekend, and I hope you all enjoy the week ahead. So until next time, I'll look forward to talking to you all again very soon. Goodbye now.